Hi there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody? I am having a few problems today. Uh, this is Hargro Atkerson. I'm an author, a writer, publisher, and a producer of internet shows just like this one. And I wanted to, first of all, have prominently on my head some plumbing issues today. So you have to excuse me. It's kind of a crazy day today. But guess what? We're still going to forward ourselves in our knowledge of character development, which is something I think is so important when when you begin to write and to understand what your role is as a writer. One of the things I need you to look at is um, how important it is for you and to think of yourself. It, I guess the best way to put it is think of yourself as a movie producer. What pictures do you want to put in your reader's mind? What are the ideals you want to express? What is the goal of your writing? Why are you writing? And what are you writing about? Who are you writing about? What you're writing about? And where? When? These things are critically important. One of the things I wanted to bring out today, we're going to do an in-depth talk about using resources, and we'll do that next week because there's a special book that that I have here. It's called "Going Against the Wind." I think I showed. It may have showed this before. May have shown this before. This is a book that was edited and presented by Skip Mason. Now, I mistakenly thought thought that he had passed away from our wonderful lives, and thank God he has not. He left me a message on the internet saying, "Hey, I'm alive." Like, well, thank God for that, because I was very saddened to hear that. So we're going to be going into in depth about how to use books like this uh, to help you to develop characters and to make them crystal clear in your reader's mind as to why you're writing about this person. Why is this person included in your material? Purpose, I think, is you must always think of what is the purpose of every character in your book? What is the purpose of number one, why did you decide to write on this subject? And why did you choose certain characters? What was your inspiration to do that? And how are you going to put this in place in your reader's mind? Now, you think about your mind, but it's very important that you paint a clear picture of what you're writing about. So, but when you consider this question, I want you to also remember that everything you write belongs to you. It begins with you and ends with you. But all books lives in the minds of our readers. So that's the destination. Now, the first process you want to get to is what's in your mind. How are you going to present the material you want to present about certain characters, places, and times? What era are you writing in? And what are you going to uh, bring to your reader's consciousness? What are you going to start with in yourself? Because you must own this material, heart and soul. So here we go. We were talking about my book, Enslaved. Let me. I don't think you can see it here. Let me see if I have a picture of it that I can show you. So that you can get a better look at it. Because sometimes when you're talking about you're presenting things, the glare of everything shows up. So here's Enslaved. And I repeat, my brother Louis Hargro masterfully drew this wonderful book cover. I just love it. I love it. I love it. And the second part of this story is done by my niece, Brina Hargro, and she has a website, Art by Brina. She does magnificent work. And I want to thank the two of them for making this book wonderful and great, because I think the book cover says a lot about what's in it. It's the first thing that the reader sees. So it's important to get the images correct. But in doing that, I never, ever tell an artist what to draw. I give them the story and let them interpret that summary into something that would be pleasing to a reader, and what get the vision from them, because they're the artists. So it's great to know that they got the concept. It's just amazing. And this part two of Enslaved is about the main character and the second part of her story. The first part, which is Enslaved, which we are talking about right now, starts in Africa. And it's all about the voyage to the Americas on a slave ship, and how this wonderful, innocent person was not captivated, was stolen from her country and made to live under the circumstances she presented herself. So whenever I'm writing, I always put myself in that situation, because I think when you do that, you also engage all of your emotions and all of your feelings. And it's very important before you start writing anything for you to do the research. And that's what we're talking about. The primary thing about your characters, you want to do the research, because you must know who these people are, where they came from, what is their background. It's not a cool idea to start with a character that you invented and nobody knows anything about that character. Where did they come from? Where did they live? Who were their parents? I mean, how were they raised? Were they raised in a home? Were they raised in a public facility? Were they raised by crazy people? Sometimes we may think that about many of our parents, but nah, they're just, most of them are just strict, and we pray not abusive. Okay, this is one of the main things you want to think about when you're creating characters. So what I would do is take each and every character and post them up on a bulletin board. Who they are, how old they are when they enter the story. And even if they enter the story as an adult, you still want to give that background information. That's why it's important to do the research, because for each person that you create, that person must have a history. We must know how did their personality develop. Can you capture that in their as you move forward in your story to explain why these people exist on this planet and how did they get here? Not, we know how they got there, okay? But we want to know their background. We want to know the foundation of who they are, okay? So I was talking in this book, Enslaved, again, about Princess Gemma and who she was, because she's the main character of the story. And we talked about her history, her parents, king and queen of her village. We talked. She had two aunts that were with her most of the time with the mother, and they took it on their as a part of their responsibility to raise a queen, and they did everything they could to make sure that this happened. And the thing that differs an African queen from a European queen is that this person is a resource in the sense that they know everything that a woman needs to know and a tribe needs to know about surviving, how to survive. They just don't just give money or give personalities with a little the royal wave. They actually work hand in hand with their people. If there's a skill that needs to be taught, that person is responsible for delivering that and keeping those traditions alive that support the tribe. Everything in African culture and African existence during slavery was about survival. It's about survival. And this person had to know everything about it. So we want to take that when we explore her, who she was, we wanted to know what it is that she is transferring from her life to her tribal life as a queen, because that's her goal in life. She was destined by her father to meet and to be a part of another tribe. She was raised for that purpose. They knew who her husband would be, and they knew what her job would be the moment she was born, because it was all preordained or decided by her parents, and that arrangement was made at birth. Now we have another character in the story I want to talk a little bit about. We talked about her mother. We talked a little bit about her father, not very much, but the father, I guess we say, was a protector of his tribe, and also he absolutely loved his daughter. And we go into a little personality about him and what he was to his tribal life and to his people. And we also mentioned another character who Europeans thought of as the voodoo doctor, who was actually a medicine man, a man who knew the history of his people and taught that history. And he also raised a community of people to carry on his legacy. And from that community, he chose one to follow him. And in this instance, the next, this particular person was a playmate of Princess Gemma, and also, I guess you would say, her first love, or the person she was closest to in the tribe. They went fishing together, they went hunting together, they talked about their lives together, and they even talked about regretting the fact that she was promised to marry someone else, because this person loved her so much and he wanted always to marry her, even though his tribal traditions told him not to, and had predetermined that she would not be married to him. But he was very committed, and he was he made it his business, let's say, to make sure that she married him and not the prince of another tribe, because he loved her. And he just was totally committed to that. We go into his background and we talked about the family he came from. But most of all, his driving force in life was to marry this princess. Okay, now moving forward, I won't tell you too much about the story because I want you to read the book. But we see his education and his development and his training from birth was to take over the job of the medicine man. He was taught everything he was supposed to be taught, and within the community that the medicine man had, in raising several different young men to replace him. But this person was the person who was to take over, and he had trained him specifically as he trained the others to take over. And it was his hope and prayers that this person would take over the life, because he was the most talented, he was the smartest, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that was that story. So looking into that person's personality was critical, and it was interesting because you're developing a character as a support to the main story, and he moves the lives of other people in the story in a most interesting and dynamic way. I won't tell you what that was, but once you read the book, you'll find out what that is. Okay, so go to your store or call me, text me, whatever. Send me an email and get the book. It's really great. And this particular person, like I said, her first love was pivotal in this magnificent story. So I want you to take a look at that and just imagine this person following a medicine man around every day of his life. Say from the age of uh, 6 or 7, he was sent to train with this medicine man. And he was learning everything that the medicine man taught him. And he loved his job. He was proud of his job. And he was very, very determined to take over for that medicine man and to lead his people. He was very committed to that job. But we'll see what happens when you read the book, because it's very exciting. Not and sad in some ways and good in other ways. So I want you to take a look at that particular character as you think about their role in the story. And the only rule I have for making sure that a character exists in one of my books is the fact that he has a specific purpose. He's not there as background. Even as a background person, like the aunt, the mother, that we don't really get into in detail, but they are important that they are there because it moves the story forward and it explains the princess and her life. So these are supportive things that you must always think about. And one of the things I was telling you about, this book by Skip Mason. I use this a lot in determining not only this story, and it didn't apply to this story as much as it applied to my book, Buttermilk Bottom, which I don't have a copy. I may have a copy here somewhere. I'm not sure. I'm sure I do. Yes, I do. If you wait a minute, I'll get it for you, because I don't think I have a picture of this one. But the book by Skip Mason, I'm sorry, I do know someone named Skip Henderson, but Skip Mason, this book was so critical to my book, Buttermilk Bottom, because it did several things, and we'll talk about that next week, how important it was. And that is why you need to, this book here, Buttermilk Bottom, that's why you need to find great resources for your books when you're doing research, because things like this must be detailed and it must be specific to the book in every respect. So you think about your timeline when you're presenting a book. How did things happen in an orderly fashion according to what was going on in the world? Think about, you're not just writing about this teeny little topic that you chose, but you have to put that teeny little thing in the chronology of this world and how things happen and why they happen. So that's something you want to think about. Give it some thought. Think about your reference books. I have plenty of books all over, as you can see, but it's important that you get the right one. And for me, for Buttermilk Bottom, Skip Mason's book was it. It helped me a great deal. And I refer to it often, not only about what he wrote about the period, but one of the things that I also did, and I'll show you that book after we discuss Skip Mason's book, about using other resources. And there were certain music and certain parts of Buttermilk Bottom that included the blues. So I know nothing about the blues other than I heard it growing up, but it wasn't one of my favorite genres. But that book helped me to, this book, particular book on the history of music and what was current at the time came from that particular book, and I'll have it here for you next time. Um, After we discuss Skip's book, because I think it was really cool, and how you can use references like that to bring your book alive. I cannot emphasize to you more than to tell you it is critical that you surround yourself in the environment of the book. I do it in pictures. I do it in music. I may play the blues while I'm imagining this particular character. And one particular character in Buttermilk Bottom, let me tell you, as far as music is concerned, was a blues singer. And to imagine him being in Buttermilk Bottom and imagining him being met by the people who lived there was funny. I think I laughed through the whole development of his character. It was an experience for me to learn so much about the blues. It was something I had never ever considered. It wasn't one of the music genre, as I said, that I enjoyed. But now I'm more conscious of it and why we sing the blues as a people, and why those songs were relevant in the lives of the people who lived it during that particular time, like the early coming out of, even during slavery, and coming out of slavery into being free citizens of this country, and why long after that, up until today, the blues is very critical. And it's something you need to explore. All I can tell you, it's a fascinating journey. I loved it, and I want you to experience that also. So you take care. God bless you. I don't want to keep you forever. I think it's wonderful that we have the opportunity to talk to you about writing, because writing is my life. And I love sharing it with you. So I want you to, pick up a copy of Enslaved and pick up a copy of Buttermilk Bottom, and think about character development in a new way. And there is nothing more important than developing your characters. And remember, characters can be people, places, and things. Okay. So I want you to enjoy your day, be well, and God bless you. See you next time, Saturday at what time? 9 o'clock. Okay. Blessings to you. God bless. Here we go. It is time to say goodbye again. Love you. All right. I'm trying to get back where we were. All right. Here we go. So we'll see you next week. Be good. Be brave. And think about what you're going to do to move the what we're going to do to move the agenda forward. Okay. So take care, and don't forget, please, to like this video and share it with anyone that you know. Everybody's good, and you're never too young or too old to write. God bless. I'm sorry, guys. That's my show from. That's it. That was my show from Thursday night. But we will get the right one right here. We'll get it in the beginning. Okay. Enjoy. Have a great day.